I just want to point out a little disturbing fact that you could buy this flag, the Russian, Soviet, USSR flag, on eBay and Amazon, no problem. But you can't find a rebel flag or a Confederate flag because it stands for hate. Yet this system killed hundreds of millions of people. And, of course, the rebel flag was fighting against draconian taxes. Now, I want to present one little idea to you that, at least in my mind, I'm going to tell you, I'm so sick of these jackasses from the north and, on their high and mighty horses trying to, condescendingly rewrite history. I'll tell you the truth, I'd fight a Yankee before I'd fight a Russian. And it's probably going to come down to that because eventually we're probably going to get into a major conflict with Russia. It's being orchestrated by the powers on the top, which mainly are coming from Wall Street. And when this happens, I'm going to say the banksters are going to be in big trouble because they're going to be on ground zero. Because sometimes when you unleash something it gets beyond your control. You think you got it all figured out, you got plans, but then it gets beyond your control. And it's just going to be another angle that the banksters are in trouble. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm not going to lift a finger to help them. If I'm living off the grid someplace or something in the hills or whatever I am, and I'm not in the major cities, too bad. Too bad. I don't care. And I don't want to partake in the blame that some of the people on the opposite side of the world justifiably criticize the United States. Now, I know the United States was informed on the principles of what is actually the policies that are going on today. The United States was supposed to be, taking care of its own people, only involved in domestic affairs, which is pretty much taking care of its own people, not getting involved in the whole entire world, trying to take over the planet with our military all over the place and having a standing army. Now, I'll tell you one thing. Another thing that's really wrong with the USA, and it's not the USA. It's actually the Yankee Northeast controlled media, where it's brainwashed all women into some of the most ludicrous, incorrect ways of thinking. Like you got libtard female over here. She won't eat eggs because they're baby chickens, but she's pro-choice because the fetus is just a bunch of freaking cells. And that's pretty much how they think. But I don't know how they can think like that. There's no logic to it. But, it's just like programmed into that little brain housing group of theirs, and that's what comes out. But where's all those things coming from? Where's the embryo of all these ideas coming from? It's coming from the Yankee Northeast communist media. I'm not gonna. I tell you the truth. I think the Northeast Yankees are freaking far more communist than the current Russians, including the lifetime president Vladimir Putin. So now you can't buy this flag for no way in hell on Amazon or eBay. But that first flag I showed you with the hammer and sickle that killed hundreds of people, hundreds of millions of people, you could buy that no problem. So in their inverted logic. And I already went into a lot of stuff where I think a lot of stuff has been some of these people doing these things that the major media says, which we know happened. But I think they're mind control subjects from the Tavistock Institute in the UK. I went over that on another video, but it's not something I can prove. But when you're looking at, whenever the major media and all the corporations all sing in unison, be very suspicious. If they hate something, you should gravitate towards it. If they're all against it, they're against it for other reasons than what they're saying. Now, I also want to point out, now I know Trump is not exactly what he says he is, and I know people are starting to figure that out. I was always on the fence with him since the beginning. It's kind of unrelated to this video, but maybe it's not totally unrelated. But I always figured he has a patriotic streak in him, and he's somebody that they really don't want because he's not going to be like putty in the elite's hands and do every single thing they want. But I was pretty accurate in saying that he's not going to deliver on a lot of what he says. He's pretty much a BS artist, and he's a salesman, and he got in office. And one thing he says he's going to put up that wall. But, One thing I really didn't give a damn about that wall too much, to tell you the truth. Um, More like I was like, my policy was this: if you come in this country, there's always been illegals in this country, right? As long as you got to work hard to get your money, and I'm not too freaking against them being here illegally, quote unquote, as long as somebody's in pay, giving them full Social Security or something and free everything. That's bullshit, if they do that. But these libtards, they got all freaking bent out of shape about the wall. Or if Trump's going to go into, because the wall was going to be with Mexico, right? These libtards, they said they got all bent out of shape with Trump getting in office. He says they're going to move to Canada. Well, why don't they move to Mexico? Now, personally, I'm for the wall, which I don't know how he's going to pay for it. But if I found this country to be screwed up and I wanted to move out of this country and I had to pick between Canada and Mexico, I go to Mexico. Mexico's warmer, man. Canada, you can freeze your ass off, man. And besides, all these libtards love weed and they can grow all the weed they want down there. Plus, you got some pretty hot chicks down there, so who gives a crap? You know what I mean? But they won't move down to Mexico. They'll move to Canada because they want to be with the white people. That's their freaking thing. You know what it is? It's almost like they're the abolitionists of the modern day abolitionists. You know the days back in 1860s or 1850s, they had the abolitionists in the North, and they're all talking about slavery. None of them ever freaking seen a slave in their whole freaking life. Most of them. I mean, maybe none of them. Almost all of them never seen a slave in their whole freaking damn life. They didn't even have no. I mean, the institution was wrong, but they had absolutely no idea what the hell they were talking about. And when you looked at what was actually going on in the North to the black people, even though they're free, they even had it worse off than many of the freaking slaves in the South. The black people got screwed over from the North and the Southern whites. That's it. But you know how the abolitionists are, man. It was sort of like, get on that moral cause and I'm high and mighty, but they won't take one in their house. Just like these people bitching about the wall. They won't move down to Mexico. If they hated the wall and they welcome the illegals here, how come they freaking don't want to move to Mexico? They want to go to Canada? Yeah, bullshit. So, here's another liberal logic 101. Trees, they have souls. Don't kill trees. Unborn babies, just blobs of tissue. Now, this is another reason I don't give a damn about these. This is Yankee logic right here. This is not your Southern Bible Belt, and I'm not even like Christian, okay? I'm not even like, Jesus this and it's like logic, though. To me, it's plain logic. I know that when the baby is conceived, whether it's Christian, it's in the Bible or not, I know it's life. I mean, it's logic. It's not even like religion. It's just freaking plain fact. Where the hell? That's where life starts. It's quite obvious. You should not kill the unborn. I'm not doing it for religion. I wouldn't. My opinion is not like that for religious reasons, in the least. It's just like, why would you kill the most innocent that can't defend themselves for no reason, where they never even had a chance on getting born, for crying out loud? It's ridiculous. But that's the freaking communist Yankee freaking Northeast attitude. So I ain't defending them. The hell with them. I wouldn't defend them. I wouldn't defend them over Russian. I mean, to me, I think the Yankees are a bigger enemy than the Russians. I mean, not the Russians are freaking all perfect, but. And here's the other logic here. Come and take them. Come and take them, because we ain't giving them up. No matter what laws they pass for gun control or whatever they say about it, we ain't giving them up. That's all there is to it. I don't give a shit what jerk in a uniform comes by or whatever. That's all there is to it. We ain't giving them up. We'll fight. We'll fight to the death. We'll die, whatever the hell it is. But that's more of the Yankee logic. Because the Yankee logic, actually, you look in New Jersey, the freaking laws against guns are almost as bad as in Russia. But the thing is, Russia's moving towards more lax laws, and the Northeast is moving towards more stringent laws. Before you know it, the Northeast, which is Yankeedom, is going to be more freaking totalitarian than what Russia is, which probably is the game all along. Here's another thing, too. Freedom of speech, right? Which I don't really regard. Right now, I'm really glad I really gravitated towards the rebel, quote unquote, Confederate flag because it's more unpopular now. If it was very, very popular, I probably wouldn't give a damn about it that much because it gets when something, nothing can be rebel because I know that maybe that's not the right term, but in a way it is. It's semi-true, but nothing can be rebel if everybody's on the same side. Rebel means you're the outcast, and that's one thing that's an attraction to it. But it doesn't really mean nothing. I mean, it's not, you could buy Nazi flags online easier than you could buy a Confederate flag. Yet the Nazis were all about killing millions of people and exterminating people for because of their religion or whatever reason they gave them. And here you got the Confederate flag was all about secession and just trying to be independent from draconian taxes being imposed upon it by a central government. But here you got old girl here. It's okay to burn an American flag because that's the next thing on the list. When they freaking say the Confederate flag's about hate, you look at Berkeley University, they tell you the American flag's about hate in Berkeley. It's okay for her to burn an American flag, says it's her First Amendment right, but she wants to ban anybody from flying a Confederate flag. That's why I fly one. For people like you, lady. Anyway, so, anyway, who cares, man, really? And you got Chelsea Clinton. Here's another classic example of fugly. Chelsea Clinton, her mom always goes around all the speaking circuit condemning everybody, all the establishment in this country about white privilege. Chelsea Clinton steps out of college, and her parents get her a job. I think it was working at NBC for $900,000 a year. And by the way, everybody in that, I think it was NBC, she was some kind of creative position. Nobody could approach her. She was like hell on wheels, man. Bitcho supreme. 900 grand a year. And why did she get that job? Because she's the daughter of freaking Bill and Hill. What a crock of crap. While Hillary goes around and saying, she condemns white privilege. Well, they are the white privilege. This is why I will not defend the Yankees. These are all, whether they're Yankees or not, even if they're not Yankees, they're fed by Yankee money. It's all coming from the New York City area. It's all coming from Wall Street. It's all coming from that established clique of banksters. That's why I would never defend the Yankees or fight a Yankee over fighting a Russian. No way in hell. Russians want to come in here and tear the place up. Hey, you were okay with freaking letting the freaking Sherman go. Sherman comes to Sherman, destroy the South. Plus now you deny it. You got paid shills out there on the internet denying it. I'm like, screw you bastards up north. Have fun. You liberals believe your religion belongs behind closed doors, which is the same as saying Yankees, right? But your sex life, like the LGBT community, are paraded down the street for everyone to see. Now, I'm not against any of this shit, but it's truth. It's true that if you had a bunch of Christian fundamentalists marching down the street, the major media would be all over it, like jumping on them, saying they couldn't do it. Which I'm not too keen on the real religious people, and I don't really give a damn what anybody does, to tell you the truth. But you can see how biased they are with their freedom of speech. They don't have any freedom of speech. Now, as far as Mr. Lifetime President Vlad Putin, I know he's not Mr. Santa Claus. I'm not quite aware of that. But, compared to the kind of bullshit that's going up north, hey, he can use it for freaking target practice. I can give a damn. I don't really care, man. So, bottom line is I'm just telling you that I'd fight a Yankee before I'd ever fight a Russian. And, I'm probably going to go on down this subject a little bit more because I think there's a solution to giving Mr. Vlad Putin what he wants without harming the Eastern European nations. Or maybe we'd have a Confederate States of Russia where there'd be a lot of autonomy in the Eastern European nations, but theoretically it would be under one hat, which would kind of satisfy Mr. Vlad Putin's ego, bringing back the freaking old Russian borders. As long as there's a lot of autonomy in the Eastern European nations and the Bill of Rights is installed just, exactly the same as the United States. Which means you might have idiots. Well, you know what? Eastern Europeans are a lot freaking smarter than the idiots up in the Northeast and on the left coast. Actually, I'm going to just to diverge here for a second. California, a lot of people think it's really screwed up. Actually, it's not. It's screwed up in a very select, minute amount of areas, except those select, minute amount of areas are pretty much controlling everything that goes on in that state. But the vast majority of California, where when you're talking area and maybe even population, um, is not on par with, not on board with what the elitist strategies are and policies of the state, like at the upper political levels. Because a lot of people think California's real screwed up. I could tell you one from being out there for some years. I know Californians don't necessarily agree with a lot of the bullshit that goes on in that state. But you know what it is? The big money's controlling the policy. And the big money's a bunch of damn hypocrites. This one kind of cracked me up. So, oh, you're moving to Canada if Trump is elected. What's wrong with Mexico? These are the people that hated freaking the wall going up. The wall's not going up anyway. I know that. You know what I would do for that wall? I'll tell you the truth. Since we got all these prisoners, and most of them don't even belong in jail, um, and personally, well, I'm going to say something else here. I would do is for early release. I would get all those prisoners, that much as we can, to work on the wall. Don't have to be freaking perfect, as long as it's works and it's going to be durable. It's not going to wash away at the first big rain. Make it by hand with shovels, and get them out of there real quick. You know what I mean? And also make the correctional guards do work too, because they deserve it. Because those bastards are a bunch of pricks. So I mean, that would be my idea, because that would save a lot of money. Then, if you get all these prisoners out of prison, you wouldn't have to pay all this 50 grand a year to house them, right? That's costing money. I'm a freaking, I'm telling you the truth, man. I think a lot of stuff that's going on in the United States is a pile of bullshit. And that's why I'm like, the hell with the damn Yankees, because I know where it's coming from. It's been coming from them forever. The South has been fighting a losing battle against crap that's coming out of the North for many years. And unfortunately, the North has already brainwashed most of the women, which is, through the liberal media, or communist media. I don't want to call them liberal. Freaking liberal. Liberal policies, a woman can walk down the street naked and not have to worry about, whatever. Anyway, but, the banksters are going to be in trouble. The banksters are going to be in trouble. And to me, I'm saying good. So what? These are the Yankee banksters. I can give a damn about them, tell you the truth. Now, I'm from up that area. I'm very familiar with a lot of crap that goes on up there. But, I'm going to tell you, even the conservatives that live up there, they're a bunch of yo-yo rule freaks to the max, too. They're so used to living in a communist rat hole that they don't even know what freedom's about. Not even in the least. And the only thing is, I'm kind of a little bit more of a rebel in a true sense. Now, I could say, I didn't like going along with a lot of crap when I was up north many, many years ago either. But I could say that even down south, I can't understand why people put up with a lot of garbage that's going on. We don't need 99% of the rules out there. And just about 50, 60 years ago, we didn't have 99% of the rules. It's a fact. It's beyond ridiculous, to tell you the truth. And, it goes to show you what they're worried about. They're not worried about communism, because the Yankees are about communism. Because you can buy this communist flag anytime you want on Amazon and eBay. What they're worried about is people sticking up for their individual rights. Don't tread on me, and rebelling against the system. That's why this flag is banned. Now, I'm going to tell you, that just comes down to one conclusion. I'd fight the Yankees before I'd ever fight the Russians. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. It's a unique thought, but it's a justifiable, logical thought, because the Yankees are the communists, not the Russians.